Look, we all need to save money on food costs, especially during a time such as this when so many are struggling financially. But did you know that there is one single food expenditure that contributes to, on average, 30% of a family's food budget each and every week? Want to know what it is? Stay tuned. Hi everyone, I'm Jenn and welcome to the channel. If you're watching this video, it's likely because you want to learn some life hacks for living on less. Maybe it's your very first time to the channel. If so, welcome. It is so good to have you here. As you watch, you may even think that the info you learn here is valuable enough that you want to subscribe. So please don't hesitate to click that red button below. Okay, onto the meat and potatoes. Studies have shown that for the average person, 30% of their food budget is spent on, drumroll please, beverages. What? That is crazy. I know what you're thinking, Jen, that statistic cannot be true, and it certainly isn't true in my home. No way do we spend nearly a third of our food budget on beverages. No way. Well, just a second, hold on a minute. Let's add it up. Think about it and be honest. How much a week does your family spend on juice, milk, pop or soda, Gatorade, those sweet cans of bubbly, tea, coffee, including drive-through and restaurants, guys, not just what you make at home, hot chocolate, lattes, espressos, and the biggest budget busters of all, beer, wine, and liquor. Alcoholic beverages are actually the most expensive beverage in North American diets. So really think about this, you guys. Think about yourself. Those beers every weekend add up. So does that bottle of wine you share with your girlfriends. So does your daily Timmy's or Starbucks run. Same for the juice boxes you send in your kids' lunch every single day. And the gallons and gallons of milk those same kids consume every week. Comment time. Let me know below, what type of beverage does your family spend the most money on or consume in the greatest quantities? I'm really interested to know what you guys have to say about this. Today, I'd like to share with you all how our family of 8 spends next to nothing on beverages, and how you can too. Okay, friends, how do we stop the madness? Well, if you want to cut back on your beverage costs, it's going to take a bit of pain before you see some gain. And the main reason for that is because most of our beverages, whether that be a sugary juice, a coffee, or alcohol, have addictive properties. If you grew up in a home that only ever consumed juice or soda or milk and never drank water, guys, you're addicted. You're addicted to those beverages. It's scientifically proven, and it is really hard to make the switch from all of that stuff to the only free drink out there, water. And perhaps even harder is if you are the parent and this is how your children have been drinking beverages all of this time. And you have to be the bad guy and wean them off of everything because you started out this habit with your kids. So that's even tougher. But I wanted to share some personal information for you from my family to maybe help you in that journey. So our family, there are 6 children, 4 of them are adopted, and we were also foster parents to 12 children in the past. And I wanted to tell you guys that every single one of our foster children and a couple of our adopted children arrived in our home addicted to juice and milk. And I say addicted because it was literally like if they didn't have juice or if they didn't have chocolate milk or strawberry milk many times a day, they would get like enraged. And in our home, we generally don't have juice except for special occasions. We don't have flavored milks. And I'm gonna share a little bit about milk later in this video with you guys. But in every single case, every single child that came in our home from all different backgrounds, from all different genetic heritages, they all broke the addiction within 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, we were able to get them over the hump, and they now definitely don't crave that stuff anymore. They have no problem drinking tap water. It's no big deal. So Scientists have said that it takes between 2 and 4 weeks to break one habit and start a new good one. So if you really want to save money and do something good for your health, I challenge you to try to start this habit of reducing the amounts of costly sugary beverages in your diet. But this video is not just me like wagging my finger judging you for doing that. Hello, I mean, I have definitely some bad habits that I need to break. This video is about empowering you and giving you the tools to get rid of that stuff from your food budget and save a whole ton of moolah. Okay, so I had to sit down for this next part of the video and just have a friendly chat beside my empty wine glasses. Seriously, I wanted to start with the topic of alcohol because it is the biggest part of our beverage budget in North America. And as Canadians, I mean, overindulging in alcohol is almost seen as a human right. And it's a really big part of our culture. I wanted to sit and have a little heart-to-heart about that with you all because if you're struggling in your budget, if you can't afford your monthly bills or you're just not getting ahead, check your alcohol expenditures because for most people, it's nothing to spend 50 bucks on alcohol on a weekend. And to me, it's not a human right, it's not a basic necessity of life if you can't afford to take your kids on a vacation because you're spending so much money on alcohol. If you can't afford to pay off your mortgage because you're spending so much money on alcohol, you got a problem. And maybe it's good for us to be open and honest about our cultural problem. This story hits pretty close to home for us because some of our adopted children have definitely been affected by alcoholism and addiction in their families of origin. And it's a big part of their story, and it's a big part of some things that they struggle with now as a consequence. And so my husband and I have made the decision that we generally do not keep alcohol in our home, and we hardly ever drink ourselves, just because we want to set the example for our children that if alcoholism and addiction runs in their family, they don't need to be a slave to that, and they can still have a happy, fulfilling life without drinking all the time. So my husband and I tend to save our alcoholic beverages for maybe a wedding, an exciting celebration, or a date night when our kids aren't around. Maybe at a restaurant, I'll have a glass of wine. But it's definitely not a huge part of our family budget. And I would say there's nothing wrong with, if you are at a gathering with friends, to bring along a water bottle stuffed full of lemons and limes, and you're still gonna have a good time, you're still gonna have fun, and you're not gonna be spending near as much money. Okay, let's talk coffee and tea, hot chocolate, all of those yummy warm drinks, especially in the winter. I'm standing right by my coffee and tea cupboard just to show you guys what we do, but we almost never go through a drive-through and get a coffee or tea. We're not big coffee drinkers, we're more tea drinkers, and our kids love a good hot chocolate. But we almost never go through a drive-through. I'll get a tea the odd time if I'm out with a girlfriend. I'll get maybe a small tea for $1 if I'm going to Timmy's. But for the most part, we don't buy coffee or tea at a restaurant, we make it at home. How much money are you gonna save by doing this? Well, I checked at the stores, and for about the same price as 10 cups of tea at Tim's, I can buy a pack of tea bags and I can get 70 or more cups of tea out of that. If you're super frugal like my daughters, they will reuse the same tea bag several times and just keep it in a bowl beside the kettle. And so then you're really saving a lot of money. And what about the most important part of any teenage diet? Gatorade or Powerade? What about these little beverages? I know that they're really popular. A lot of kids between the ages of like 11 and 16, especially boys, literally pack a Gatorade in their lunch every single day to school. I know, I've seen it. I know because my kids complain and they wish they could do it too. But if you ask any doctor or nurse, they will tell you that Gatorade and beverages like it really should only be reserved for if you are sick and dehydrated. So we do have a case of Gatorade at our house, but that's reserved for if somebody has the stomach flu or diarrhea or is super dehydrated and needs it. It's not something that's necessary for every day. Guess what is necessary for every day? water. On the topic of kids' lunches, by the way, a lot of parents send juice boxes or Kool-Aid jammers in their kids' lunches every day. And I've heard from so many teachers that are really super annoyed by this. Why? Because it makes kids unduly hyper and it leaves a sticky mess everywhere. Juice is not the most healthy way to get vitamins in your kids. Instead of a juice box of apple juice, you should be giving them an apple. Instead of orange juice, they should be eating an actual orange. And if you haven't already, for yourself or your children, it really is time to think about investing in some reusable water bottles that you can just be sending water every day with your kids. It'll keep them way more hydrated and they're going to do way better with their learning and their grades and their schoolwork if that's the beverage you're sending with them instead. Okay, so now I have my tap water sitting right here and I don't mind the taste of tap water. Maybe it's an acquired taste, and where I live, tap water is actually very healthy. You can totally use a Brita filter or something like that if you're trying to take a lot of chlorine out of your water. But in my area, tap water is perfectly safe and healthy. I feel really badly for those areas that it's not. I've heard a lot of people that have flavored water or bubbly instead because they say they like the taste better, which is probably okay when you're trying to bridge the gap between having juice and pop all the time to having water all the time. But I think your end goal should never be flavored water and bubbly because it just costs a lot of money. If you're really desperate, you could always put some lemon wedges in your tap water and they last all day and you can just keep refilling your jug with water, and that's gonna cost you a couple cents versus what it would cost you to buy bottled flavored water or bubbly. And then there's another big culprit for monetary expense on beverages for many individuals or families, and that is soda or pop, as we call it in Canada. Something a lot of you might not know is that one of the highest grossing products for pops right now, in what's making like the most money, is diet pops, because people think that they're being healthier by having diet or Coke Zero or less sugar, and they're paying the same amount they would have for regular pop. And is it really better for your body, you guys? Studies have said no. They still have addictive properties, they have cancer-causing chemicals like aspartame, and they make you hungrier. I have learned this the past few weeks because I'm doing Noom. Future video to come on me reviewing that app. I really like it, by the way. They talked about the fact that diet pop and consuming diet soda makes you hungrier and makes you eat more. So, ditch the soda and save yourself some money, you guys. When we were talking about juice earlier, I did forget to mention one type of juice I do tend to have on hand, and that is 100% cranberry juice. That is simply because if anybody in the home has a UTI, cranberry juice is a natural solution instead of getting antibiotics. Sorry, was that too much information for you guys? But I tend to always have one in the cupboard just in case. Okay, now I'm going to focus on one of the most sacred of sacred topics, and that is milk. Here in Canada, we have milk in bags and jugs like this for any of my US people who are watching, and get it in gallon plastic containers. This is how our milk looks. But apparently a lot of families, especially big families, go through an incredible amount of this stuff. Now I'm about to delve into territory that I hope doesn't kind of betray some of my dairy farm family members and my own husband who works in the dairy industry, but pediatricians, including my own pediatrician for my children, say that children do not need to drink milk for health past the age of 2, okay? 2 years old. Be honest. How many of you have 8, 9, and 10-year-olds? How many of you yourself as an adult will drink cups full of milk every day? And is it necessary? Apparently not. I was also told that the sugars in milk are really kind of bad for children past a certain age when they're developing their teeth, because it sits in their teeth and causes cavities. And I mean, let's think about this logically. Let's think about this in nature. We have many animals who nurse from their mothers when they are babies, and then when they stop nursing, what do they drink? They go to the stream and they drink water. So our family of 8, we have 4 liters of milk in here, and this will last us over a week. We do not even go through 4 liters a week because we don't drink it. We only ever use it on cereal or in cooking and baking. Back when there was only 4 of us, I actually used to freeze bags of milk so it would last longer because we would generally only go through 1 liter bag a week for our family of 4. Again, this might be a really hard habit to break, but I do think it's worth it in the end. So you might be thinking, Jen, what do your kids drink for breakfast if you don't drink juice, except for special occasions like Christmas or when company's over, and you don't drink milk with your meals? They have water. They have a glass of water beside their toast and eggs or beside their cereal in the morning. They drink water. And actually, that's really good for you to just down a glass of water after you wake up in the morning. It helps to rehydrate you after you've been sleeping for such a long time. So yeah, it might sound weird to drink water with your breakfast, but that's what we do here and it works just fine for us. And one of the biggest culprits for overspending on beverages is restaurant beverages. So when you go out to eat with friends or with your family or going through that drive-through, so many people think that it's absolutely essential to get a pop with your meal or an iced tea or a milkshake. And I actually have my mother to thank for this habit in our family, and that was growing up, if we went to a restaurant, we got tap water with our meal. Unless it was like included as a meal deal, you know, then we would probably get the beverage that was included for free. But if you had to pay extra for your beverage, which is oftentimes around $4, up to $12 or $15 if you're getting alcoholic beverages, if you have to pay extra for that, my mom was always like, no, you're getting water. So what do? I do the same thing with my children. We just ask for ice water, which is absolutely free at any restaurant you go to. And even if you're going to a fast food place, like if you walk into McDonald's, you don't have to pay for bottled water. Did you know that? You can just ask them at the counter, could I have a cup please that I can fill with water? The odd place will maybe charge you 5 cents for the cup, but it's certainly a whole lot cheaper than if you had to pay $3 or $4 for a beverage. So if you're looking to really shave costs, consider that the next time you eat out. And finally, I wanted to share with you all just how much money you're going to save if you implement these habits in your own life. So the studies I was referring to at the beginning that talked about 30% of your budget said that the average family would spend between $50 and $75 on beverage costs every week. All the beverages we've been talking about this whole video. That's a lot of money, and when you think about it, that's around $200 to $250 a month, or $3,000 a year. I mean, think about the years you could shave off your mortgage if you were putting down an extra $3,000 every year. Or think about how much better your annual family vacation could be if you had that much extra money to put towards it. All because you ditched unneeded beverages from your diet. So what do you think, you guys? Can you do it? Maybe you already are doing all of these things. If so, kudos to you. If not, I really wish you good luck in trying this out. I hope you will give it a try. I think it's totally worth it for both your personal health and the health of your bank account. Please don't forget to pop that like button below if you appreciated this video. It means the world to me. And to the side here, I have personally selected some of my budget food videos if you'd like to learn more about this topic and continue to keep watching. So I will see you guys soon. For the least, this is Jen.